So what we're going to talk about, I'm kind of a pacer, so hopefully you don't hear me breathing in the recording. But what we're going to talk about really is the past, present, and future of event registration in Drupal. So just out of curiosity, build a website where their client wanted people to sign up for a workshop, some type of event. Who here has built sites like that? Okay, good, good. So that's a little bit more than half. So that's great. Objectives here. So I'm going to try to give you a basic understanding. Is it Red Hand? Is that the CRM? I think that's Red Hand. And then also registration modules, just to give an idea of how it works. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'll show you the history of some of the modules that have been used. I'm sure there's multiple ways to events. I'm sure modules anyone else to events with maybe flag or something like that. Has anyone done that? No? Okay. In any form? Okay. Cool. Cool. So just out of curiosity, because I'm curious, how did you do that so that when you created a new event, all the entity form fields were already there?
I didn't.
Okay. So obviously some people are like, oh, could you use web form or entity form? And yes, you could, but every single time you created a new web form and entity form, you got to create the new fields every single time, and that gets pretty cumbersome. I'm going to try and get some basic registration in Drupal 8. I'm actually going to do 2 demos, so there's a good chance this is going to fail. And then hopefully we have some time for questions and comments. So I apologize for this ridiculous design today. That's why I didn't join everyone, but who cares? All right. So who am I? That's the question. So I consider myself a front-end developer and Drupal site builder. So just out of curiosity, how many people in here are back-end developers? Just straight back. Okay, that's significant. All right. How about front-end developers, steamers? Only touch the front. Okay, only a few people. How about site builders? How about site builders? We just click the hell out of the UI and make it work. Perfect, perfect. So this session right here is mostly for us. Developers, I want you guys to So anyway, my name's Kaleem Clarkson. Ridiculous title here. I'm the Director of Operations at Kennesaw State University. So we teach faculty how to teach, not me, myself, but my main responsibility for the center is the budget and developing products. That's how I began learning Drupal. Follow me on 1999. Hey, that's how you learn. That's how you learn. We started doing Drupal probably at the tail end of 6 in 2008, so I did build a couple of D6 sites. Didn't have to do that too long. And most recently, in 2004 till 2014, so present, I've kind of been DrupalCamp project lead with an awesome team. We need help, so volunteer. All right. So building blocks. So how many people here are beginners? Like just straight 2, 3. So this is good. I'm glad I'm doing this. So Drupal, if you haven't noticed already, is literally this. You just get a bunch of blocks. Okay. But you just get a whole bunch of stuff and they say, hey, put it together. So a lot of these systems where you need functionality such as like okay, all and the registration modules use a very similar model. Please correct me because we're all a community, we learn from each other. So basically, with these types of systems where you're getting functionality from distributions or downloading modules, this is, to me anyway, it makes sense, especially for commerce. I'm going to use commerce because it's very mature and very good. The node, so everyone knows what a node is, so just very quickly, a node is a page, basically, kind of, maybe not. But anyway, the node acts as the display, what the people see, what they digest. End user. It's the or another entity, so that could be product for commerce, maybe contact, some of the CRM. Entity registration. And this thing is attached to the node display. Am I correct, backend developers? Am I on like roughly the right path? Like, yeah, just the entity that's attached provides all of the functionality that you're looking for, whether it's, again, back to commerce, that's a product when you want to purchase it. Entity registration, which is you want to register, right? And then the modules down here actually interact with the entity. Kind of the meat of the functionality that we're going to talk about. So, in this context, there are so many different registrations, but for me, as a site builder, you know, downloading this module, configuring that. I mean, again, of course you can build all of these things on your own. Of course you can. So for me, I like to get the functionality as quick as possible and maintain it. So these are kind of some of the common features in a registration event system that you would need. And I want something that does this out of the box. So, you know, for example, customize fields on the registration form. So not the node that's displaying the information, maybe the date of the event and the description, but maybe the form. So I want different types of registration forms because maybe I have one event. Volunteer might have it. Participant may have a different set of fields, whatever. I want to be able to open and close registrations based on dates. Can't do that with web forms, entity forms, don't think so. I guess you could do a rule, maybe do a rule with date, maybe unpublish it maybe, I don't know how you would even handle that. Eric, did you do it? With entity forms? Yeah, you're gonna pay attention to this one, player. So, all right, cool. You also want to send messages to registered participants. You know, you want to send notifications. This, I always assume, is like the most obvious thing that you would need. Provide a view of all registered participants. I want to allow users to register for multiple events. Okay, not people to an Excel spreadsheet. Just something so simple. You know, I put on conferences. The other thing I do for my job is I put on like 3 conferences a year. So there's another reason why, you know, it's like, hey, we can do this for DrupalCamp later. But like, this is like name tags, all that stuff. Trying to use space. So this is the types of things that we're going to talk about as far as what it is that we want. So Drupal 6. What do we have for Drupal 6? Okay. It works. It did what it needed to, and it was very popular. You see those 2 names up there? Those are good names. All right. And so one thing that I learned over time, and again back to the beginners, maybe even some of you advanced developers who are just coming into Drupal now. I don't want to say reputation matters, but it does. It kind of does for me. Anyway. I wanted Jeff Robbins, Olabot? Okay, good. Chad? I don't know Chad's name, but anyway, he's tied with that. 92,000 I don't have a Drupal 6 environment anywhere, so I couldn't really show you what it looked like. So yeah, that even made entity registration. So entity registration. Thanks, Shell. Thank you very much. They are the developers. Without companies, we wouldn't be able to do this thing, so I really appreciate it. But we're going to talk about a couple at the mercy of the module maintainers. This is all open source, right? So I mean, you can't really complain. But if you're like me, you do complain. So this is 107 nodes. So obviously, this is the go-to module for registration events. Does anybody have any other modules that they've used for registration events that provide this functionality? No? Okay, cool. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to just turn around and just not even look at you guys. So here we go. Because I can't get at the mirror. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to basically log in. We're going to register for this event here. So this is the entity registration module in Drupal 7. And I got this little, you got to be logged in to register. And we will do this. So for our center, we have about 80 events per semester. So we load in a lot of our events. Please ignore the error message just because it's my local environment. So we have about 80 events a semester. So I use feeds to import all the events every semester. And then basically, you have the presenters here and stuff like that. So with the entity registration module, you get this little ugly button there. It's amazing how many people can't see things. So so you can see this person here. They're like, yeah, this sounds like a great event. And that's actually a real event. And they can click there and save their registration. Boom, it's saved. So another cool thing and you can see the event that I just logged in is showing right there. So as far as the backend, as far as the user admin, if I go ahead and refresh. Oh. Events upcoming. Mindset. Cache rules everything around me. Is what you got to do. So you can see here that once it goes, that person will show right up in the event. So you can see here, I have these little tabs here. You can click on, the person can click on their profile, and they can see the events that they've registered for, and they can also see the events that they've attended. So on the back end, you can basically change the registration state from registered to attended or not showed up. And here you go, this person can go to their profile, and they can see the events that they've registered for, and then they can actually see the events that they've attended. So that's kind of like just a real basic example of the types of things that you can do with entity called registration, I guess. It used to be called entity registration, but they kind of took that out of there. Show you the back end of it. So here we go. This person has registered for the event. Their name each one of these events you can do individually. So this here you can say, okay, the seating capacity is 25, which is very handy. That's something that helps out a lot for us because we have different rooms at different capacities. You can open and close it based on date. So you can say, you know, I want the registrations to close a week before. And then you can also send a little reminder message, which uses tokens, which is pretty cool. So you're going to be doing this event on this day. So this is kind of the back end thing here. And really, so we have, you know, a good amount of staff at my center. We have student assistants. So what we have them do is for a larger event, they basically go in and they edit each state. So then right here, they would say, okay, that person, they did attend. They'll send on events attended for the profile user. So, I mean, that's really a real basic usage of the entity registration module, but all that functionality comes right out of the box. All you have to do is enable the module, enable a type, and then you're good to go. So that's pretty much that. Any questions as far as that module is concerned? Oh, now I gotta find my PowerPoint. That was great. So it did blow up. It did blow up. All right.
You don't ever have.
So 2 years ago when we did DrupalCamp, so for this center now, all of our workshops are for people internally, and you know our center is funded through academic affairs, so everything's free. We use COD, as everyone knows what COD is. COD's Conference Organizing Distribution. We use COD for DrupalCamp Atlanta. So 2 years, not last year, the year before, in entity registrations, it has a module, I think it's called Registration Commerce. And we connected it to PayPal. It worked pretty well. There were just a few minor bugs that was really irritating us, so we just decided to use it. But yes, you absolutely can have paid events. You would create a different registration type, and that registration type would be quote unquote paid.
So even though you didn't choose that, not recommend it. I mean, if somebody was going to build a site and you wanted registrations for a longer term purpose, you would say that it would be a good solution. Any registration with PayPal, or would you say don't do it? Because
Depending on the site. I would probably suggest try it, and depending on how much functionality you really need. So there are a couple of entity registration gotchas. So remember how I talked about earlier, it was maintained by Big Show? It's awesome. You know, they put a lot of funding behind it, but they have a specific purpose as to what they're using the module for. So not exist for a feature. So it also does not come with default views. Their views are kind of custom built in code into the module. So you can't really alter how the view looks. So there's an issue there. I just put it up there so you can see it in the notes. But there's an issue with probably 110 registration view. While it's super awesome, I think community support, you know, they didn't necessarily put it in. So this is key if you want to be able to alter the registration view where you saw like the people who are participating. If you wanted to alter that information as far as first name, last name, institution, company, whatever, in that view, you would just have to apply this patch, and that will work. So, well, I did some searching, and it looks like they're beginning to start talks about a patch. I'm sorry, they're beginning to start talks about porting signup, to Drupal 8. So that hasn't actually started, but they actually will do it at some point. So I did some searching, and I noticed that there's somebody posted a comment in one of the issue queues that says, hey, try this out, RNG. So, what is RNG? RNG, Events and Registration. It's maintained by DPI. Some of you are probably going to ask who's DPI. And you know what? It's developers on GitHub. Now, they have a project page. It kind of freaked me out a little bit when I went to the project page, and I was like, I clicked on, if you can look real close, there's no issue queue. I was like, what's going on with this module? So I was reading up there, and he's like, support requests on Drupal answers, and all of the developments are on GitHub. So I hadn't seen that before, so I was a little taken back by that, but it's great. He responds very quickly. So the question is, who is DPI? I was talking about earlier, kind of the reputation matters, especially in this early phase. Like, is this module just going to be abandoned? Or what's going to happen? I'm going to build all these sites, and then all of a sudden, I just clicked on it, and I'm like, yeah, I think he's pretty decent. Member for almost 10 years, and you can see, look at all of his commits. So he's got 759 commits. Actually, the creator, I figured out. This is good to go. So I think the module is very well, it's taken care of. So there are some RNG module dependencies. This first one is called Dynamic Entity Reference. It allows an entity reference to reference more than one entity type. It's kind of like that relation module, I guess. So yeah, I really thought that was pretty cool. And again, these guys looks like they're pretty well reputable. Another allows other modules to tie into it and provide different emails, emailing functionality. Oh yeah, and then the maintainer's DPI. So it's like, okay, he's maintaining that module as well. And then you have unlimited number. Limited number is basically like a custom element that allows you to put, 3, 4, how many you're allowed to add, or you can change that thing to pretty much unlimited. And previous, so it's a good module. Now, so here you go. So basically, I installed all the modules that you have to install, of course. And when you install the module, you will see that you have an event type that comes default that's enabled, and then you also have registration type. So event types provides the functionality of the fields for the form. Kind of like, same with web form, when you add the fields, fieldable form. And again, the event type is what would provide the quote-unquote node display. So here, let's see, let's go ahead and add an event type. Let's add, so what's cool here, you can either create a brand new event type and content type. So let's just say we call this event. So we're gonna actually create, actually the first time, let's attach it to an existing bundle. So I already have a node in. So let's see, here we go. So I am going to attach an event type the training node, all right, has the functionality of fields added to it. So you're just going to go ahead and add. On time, sir. All right, that's 5 minutes. All right, here we go. So as you can see, the event type is added. It's called training. And then also, if I were to go to on Pantheon, I didn't give him a shout out. Give a shout out to Pantheon. Josh. So yes, now it's a live site. Actually, if you guys see the URL, it's dev-cetl8.pantheonsite.io. If you guys want to go to that, you try out some of the registration. I'll show you guys in a second. So anyway, you can see here under content types, I have a training content type that I created originally. So now we're going to add some fields to the training registration, right? It has some default settings here, so you can go ahead and add different fields to this if you want. So you could add different fields. You can remove some of these that are in existence, like if you didn't need capacity or anything like that. So now that we have a node display, you have a training node. We have an event type that's attached to the training node, which is called training. And then we're going to need a registration type. So a registration type is what actually, that actually provides you the form fields that show up underneath the node. So right here we have, I already have in there. Just go ahead and you can see that you can put in a description there if you need. And then you can also manage fields. So it's just like every other Drupal thing. First name is just a text field. Last name is just a text field. And then I added, you know, a volunteer region. All right. So now we're going to create a training about that. Please enter that stay. All right. So just like you normally would, you're going to set content add. Where's the add? There it is. Just Google Hangouts. How about that? I could use that training today. Yeah. This is my description. Date fields there. I would always have the date underneath the title if I was normally doing this normally, but here we go. I'm assuming the time is probably set.
That'd be a moderate bit if we let me guess. You stuck on
Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, so we'll go 0800 hours to see if it lets me save it. Okay, so do I dare? Do I dare? I do not dare. All right, so you can see this is just a node that's displaying. This is my description. This is so showing teaser views of content. So obviously this is not how you want your events to look. The actual node doesn't let us, that's great. So oh, that is the node. Boom. So now I'm administering the event, right? Because you loaded a bunch of these and maybe new registrations, right? Maybe you want to limit how many people can register. Let's see, maybe we could say email address. So maybe you have different people who are actually doing different events, who are presenters that you want people to reply to. And then you also choose the registration type. So I showed you earlier, the registration type had first name, last name, and then region. So if we had another registration type built in there, you could select a different one. Maybe you have one for. So what I would do is I would change this display. If I have time, I'll show you, but I don't. Basically, you could change the display and have the form show up right here. I think obviously most of us would probably do that. But sometimes, you know, maybe you don't want to have the form tab is only visible to someone who has the capabilities to edit the functionality of registration. This is where the tab wasn't available before because we hadn't enabled this particular event to allow registration. So once this tab actually shows up, and I'm going to cross my fingers because I hadn't even tried this yet. So I'm going to click it. Boom. All right, there it is. So now you can go ahead and register as a volunteer. I can say the cool thing too, actually. This also comes with another module called Identity. And this is checked right here. It says My Account Admin. I could leave it like that, and it would be a registration from my user. Or, especially in higher ed, I'm sure in corporate, have a department assistant who may be registering people for events. So that department assistant will create an account for themselves, and then they could go there and register other people. So, is anyone at this URL by any chance? It is dev-cetl, the number 8, .pantheonsite.io. He's there. So, if you guys were to go ahead and log in, I have ATL1 and ATL2 as users. Feel free, as many people do it as whatever. And the password is PASS. All right. Hopefully, is anyone logged in by any chance? All right, so I'm just going to put, my last name is Hangout Rookie. Northeast. In case anyone wants to know, I'm originally from Maine, so I'm gonna rep the Northeast right now. Go back to the workshop on how to use Google Hangouts, and hopefully some other people registered. Maybe 1 or 2 people. Hopefully you did. So as you can see, this is another view, and the great thing about this module, so some of the things I didn't mention. So when I talked about the entity registration module, some of the frustration is that they didn't include it with views as a dependency for whatever reasons. But we all know what does Drupal 8 come loaded with already. There we go. So the RNG module has a dependency on views. So every one of these tabs are all views. So what's great But if I want to just view this registration, you can see, there it is, registration. Any questions? That's pretty much it. I think that was it. Oh wait, couple caveats. No question. All you backend developers, help out, because this module is going to be just like the entity registrations module. It's going to be a huge module with tons of downloads because so many people need that type of functionality. So there are a couple of caveats right now that you can't fully use yet. So right now it's not fully integrated with rules. That's kind of an important thing because you want to be able to change. You want to have maybe different messages, like when someone registers, automatically sends a message maybe. Maybe you want to have somebody automatically removed from a registration if they do X. So rules is a really huge piece. I did message DPI, and rules is going to be integrated. But rules isn't actually done in itself. It just released, I think, its first beta, like about a month ago. So we need some help there. Actually adding that functionality into the module. So I don't know if you remember on the registration stage for me in my business anyways is crucial because we want to know how many people registered, right? And we want to know how many people registers for all my events, but he never shows up, man. So you know what? I'm going to delete his registration or something. So anyway, the states are huge, and then we also have like a certificate scenario where we need to make sure that maybe this person has attended 4 out of the 5 events. So I spoke with DPI, and he basically said, you know, you can get that same functionality with field access. So that module is not ready yet for D8. So developers, we need some help. Help us migrate field access so that we can have this functionality. Is going to GitHub, but don't be afraid of GitHub. You know, I've kind of always been a little afraid of GitHub because I'm like, oh man, it's cool, it's always awesome, guys. But GitHub's cool. So, you know, we're decoupling Drupal. Have you guys heard that term a lot? Decoupling. So you're gonna have to get used to using some of these standardized tools anyway. So that, and then the other one is that the support. I must have been saying I wish support was on Drupal, but it wasn't. It's actually on. I didn't finish. It should say Drupal Stack Exchange. So if you need help, it's actually not a bad idea because. Drupal Answers. Thank you. It's actually called Drupal Answers. So, what's the difference between Answers and Stack Exchange? Nothing? Or just the branding?
Yeah, I think it's not over.
Okay, there we go. Okay. So I was like 25%. So any questions? Any?
Entity registration module.
Yeah.
When you say there's no default views,
Good question. So the question he asked was, does entity registration view support? And the answer to that question is yes, it does have view support. All you got to do is do a relationship to the entity of registration, and then you can specifically, so it does have a view when you click on the Manage Registration tab, so you can see, you know, that table that shows you who's registered, but it doesn't allow. Now, and it's because they hard-coded the view in the module. So obviously it would have been great if they just said, you know, like organic groups gives you that default view out of the box. You know, I just kind of feel like most modules these days give you that default view so you can kind of see how it works, and then kind of, I always duplicate the view and then rename it. So yeah, you can't really do that unless you add pretty decent.
But it does integrate with views. You
Yes.
can have your own, and you can use the views data export to export registration.
You can add an export.
As long as there's a relationship there, you should be able to. I don't see any different separate unique fields. That's where I run into problems, because you have to pretty much build an export for each one, and as they scale up, you tend to find yourself taking a lot more time to build those admin views, and then there's export you have to build every time they add a build.
So what I would suggest you if you download, so what Eric's saying, let me get an event that has more people on it real quick. So you can't create a view and have the download actually work without adding that patch because of what he said. You have to programmatically add each one. But let's see, Race in the Classroom, I think, had a good amount of people. So after you scroll up, there we go, manage registrations. So when I first downloaded the modules, it took 2 hours. The view gave me the ability to customize. So now you see that. Plugin for views, and then I just attached the CSV export for each event right here. And so that has that nice little button, and boom, downloads the Excel, and then everything.
What were you saying about creating a new view for different fields?
For some reason, when you fix that, maybe they've added a patch since, but at the time, you had to pretty much create a new kind of view for each. So, and the other thing is, like, if you wanted multiple pieces of information, like you're pulling different information that you want on the export. So that default view, that patch, just gives you the flexibility to do really whatever you want. I think that's it. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you.